Good morning, my fellow mechanic or my fellow new mechanic. Now I will share with you. I performed the preload of the wheel bearing and pivot housing. This is for the part of the grader is a tandem. I do it first the pivot preload before I carry out the pivot or preload or starting. I read first the service manual, how much the specification and the working procedure. So when I get the exact or the computation of the shim for the pivot housing or the preload of the pivot, I will use the pry bar. See the pry bar? I try to spin the pivot. Must be this one spin pre-lift spin. When I try to spin, if it's too tight, I increase the shim. I remove the bolt and increase the shim. If it's too loose, I decrease the shim until I get the correct specification. Because sometimes they have something wrong. If you use the correct value or your correct computation, sometimes this one is too tight because of the maybe the parts is little bit difference. But sometimes it's exactly like this. Exactly the specification given the manufacturer is exactly. And then the next is the bearing, the same procedure. What I did, I testing manually after I get the correct value of the shim in between the spindle and the retainer. So this is the tools I'm using. I have a torque wrench straight drive. I have the torque wrench 1/2 drive to up to 250 foot-pounds, and this one is up to 100 foot-pounds. So my some tools is micrometer. This is the outer, and this is the depth gauge. This is the one we're using to measure the preload of this tandem part of the tandem of the grader 12N. So be careful, my fellow mechanic, because if you get mistake the preload, the machine they can get longer. Less than a year, this one will broken, or the thrust washer of the pivot housing will broken, and then that is the source of oil leaking. Good luck, keep safe everyone, enjoy your job.